Style of Boogie, Kid Terrific, Rockwell Association, Incredible Breakers, and Hidden Faces.
What's up, y'all? It's Lorenzo, aka Store, TMF, Law Unlimited, Hidden Faces, and we're here representing Style of Boogie. So, today, I am a Brooklynite.
Welcome, man, welcome.
I'm a Brooklynite, and I'm going to introduce you guys to a guy that's very well known in the hip hop community, the breakdance, Uprock community. He's pretty much a all-around guy when it comes to the dance scene in hip hop, even before hip hop. His name is Ralph Casanova, and they know him as King Uprock.
Uprock, yeah, baby. Thank you for coming on the show, man. We really
I appreciate it, my brothers. Thank you.
So King, listen, yeah. I'll start it off, right? Being that I'm from Brooklyn, we were just recently talking before we actually started filming.
Yeah.
Him and I met briefly back in the day. It's amazing because we're not from the same neighborhood, but all the neighborhoods from Bushwick to Knickerbocker to Williamsburg to Cooper Park, all of us back in the day, in some way, in some shape or another, we all got together, right? Whether it be a house party, an outdoor jam. And he was just saying to me, yo, Sto, I do remember someone, named Mr. T introduced us at a house party. The only thing is, we never really hung out after that.
Yes.
Probably saw each other a few times, but never hung out. And I'll be honest with you, listen, I used to uprock. Mm-hmm. When I met Rafaela and all these guys from Cuba, Manny and all these guys, Rubberman, Dash, and I was hanging out with Ringo at the time, and we were all of us used to uprock. Mm-hmm. The only reason why me personally, King, I didn't do the uprocking, because we always got into a fight. Because someone touched your ass.
Oh, yeah.
Someone hit your face by accident.
Yeah.
So every time I went out, dude, we got into a fucking brawl. Mm-hmm. So I said, bro, this is not the dance for me. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And then I got introduced to Loft, which is the best dance in the world for me. But, that's one of the reasons why I didn't get to it. So it's not about me, it's about you right now. So tell us from the beginning, how did it start for you, and up until where you are today, bro?
Well, I was born in the Bronx. I lived on Tiffany and Fox, and I was 5 years old. I know the landlord had told my mom and my pops and them, listen, I'm going to burn the building down because they wasn't getting rent, and it was because people went from Vietnam, wasn't paying. And my father was big time, then. He was a famous musician. They respected my dad. So I know.
I'm sorry, but what year was that?
1969.
69? They were running buildings down. Well,
yeah.
I guess they started
doing that. So we moved. My father's mother, my grandmother, she gave some money to my father because my father played with Ray Barreto and those guys. My uncle's name is Pablo Pepin, famous conguero in the world. Awesome. And my father played with Tito Puentes and all these. I was not in the Latin world. I was more in the funk.
And you were a kid, so it wasn't even your thing, right?
Because I liked Michael Jackson. I liked the Temptations, stuff like that. Because I was with my older brother. My older brother was more into the.
But how old were you in '69? What year you were born?
I was born '63.
Oh, so you were 5?
Yeah.
Because you got me by a year.
That's what he said. 5.
So.
You said that?
Yeah.
I heard him say it.
You said that?
Yes, I did.
That's why I had to stop doing drugs.
So what happened was, my mother gave some money to my father. We bought our house on Cornelia, 225 Cornelia Street in Bushwick. My father paid $25,000 for that house back then.
How much?
$25,000.
Grand.
$25,000.
That's a down payment today.
Yeah. So
maybe.
So we lived there for a while, and then I was attending martial arts and stuff like that. So I remember seeing the rebels in the corner dancing, but with music, and I said, why are these guys fighting with music? So as a little kid, I knew my next door neighbor, which her name is Madeline. She dated one of the rebels, Big Victor, and she had a little brother who was my friend, and I was like, yo, why they fighting with music? I never seen this style of fighting. And he was telling me, no, there's a dance and this and this and that. That's how they do it. So that got me involved to want to learn about rocking.
So that's your introduction.
That's my introduction to the dance.
And that's 1969, you said?
Yes.
Was it with that song, Everybody Was Kung Fu?
No.
No, that came after.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was, years passed. You know, I got a little older. When I got like almost 10, when I was 10 years old, is when my brother, my older brother, he used to tell the guys, and you know, the rebels and them, man, what are you guys doing to my little brother? And they were like, what do you mean? He's every day practicing what you guys do out here. So they was like practicing, and then they said, call your brother over here. So my you know, I only live like 4 blocks from the corner, from 4 houses. My brother called me upstairs. He says, Ralph, do that thing that you doing downstairs. And I was like looking at my brother like, why you, like, oh, you blowing my spot. Like, you know, what are you doing, you know? And then, you know, I started doing it the way I saw them do it. And they was like,
now how old are you when that happened?
Like 10 years old.
10 years old, okay.
And they was like, yo, you're
so that's
good.
Like 73.
Yeah.
1973.
No, you're getting good. You're good. You can know, you keep it up. You're gonna be a good dancer when you get older. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, wow. That's when I started to, you know, like do more stuff with Victor, the twins, and all those guys. And their brothers just used to be my close friends.
Did they call it Uprock then? Or
no, they called it rock.
No, it wasn't.
It was called rock.
It was just rock.
Rock. So after that, you know, I started getting good.
And they were doing it to funk music?
Like funk and soul, yeah. Like they would do it to Mama Kusa, certain songs. They were begging.
Hijack.
You know that song "Begging" by the Four Tops.
Hijack.
Yeah.
So hijack.
Yeah. So anything they would do, you know, like, but it wasn't to the level that rock is now.
Well,
you know
it was a street dance amongst. It was just guys, really, right?
It was just dissing. They were just
dissing each other, like.
But it wasn't clean. It wasn't clean like when Cruz came out.
No.
Right. So they were just joking with each other.
No, like dissing each other. Guy got his hair, putting it to his private or something like that.
But they were the same.
Right, the same crew.
gang. So
they
were just messing with you.
Right? So in other words, the song. This is how I remember. Tell me if I'm wrong. Because I remember being in the basements, or remember when the old school buildings had the basement, little yard before you went to the building? Yes. So that's where they used to practice at, right? Or dance. So they would get high, drinking, smoking, and the storm would come on, and they just look at each other and go, you know, sad, you know, this is with no rhythm, no nothing.
No, just,
just, you know,
in their mind, they were just messing.
You know, that's why I always see the machete, the shotgun. I remember all those moves before it came to play with you guys putting moves into it.
Yes.
There were single fucking moves.
The second generation, as Cruz came out, I think took it to the next level.
What year you think that was?
73, 74. Because you had guys from the first generation, like Little Dave, Bucci, Rubber Band, all these guys, they were dancing in the clubs already. We were too young to go to the clubs.
Right, they were already teenagers.
They were already dancing at clubs, doing their thing, you know, at the salsa, at certain clubs. We were too young to go to those places.
11, 12 years old.
But when 75, 76 came is when we were able to go to the St. Barbara's Church, St. Martin's, where Crazy Rob, who was the first promoter.
St. Martin's in the Bronx?
No, we have a St. Martin's in Bushwick.
Oh, you do?
On Hancock and Knickerbocker, yeah. And then, you know, Crazy Rob was the first guy, the first promoter to ever throw a lot of big events for the first generation and then to continue with second generation. So his first jam, I think, was 1973 when he first threw his rock contest. But I never got to go to that. But I went to the future ones where Danny Boy from Dynasty and Carlos and Rocky Nelson.
Already like 78, 79?
No, like 75, 76.
But then you were still 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, but we were able to go in there because I have pictures of where Little Tito and Eddie Stock won a freestyle contest.
The only reason why every time you hear us asking you for years is we want to give a timeline to stuff. This way, if anybody ever watches the show and they contradict, we say, listen to the timeline that he was saying.
Because
that's how it makes
76,
sense.
I was already in junior high school, 162. I was in 7th grade. I graduated in 1960.
Well, you were 13 already.
1976, I graduated at a 106, PS 106, bicentennial year, because I remember we had a dress.
That's in Bushwick, PS 106?
Yeah, PS 106. It's, I had a dress bicentennial, where I had a dress with white shirt, red tie, and blue pants, like the flag. So I remember
we had to do
that year.
I went down to Manhattan, me and my brother, on a bicycle, and we followed all the sail ships because they went around Manhattan for bicentennial year.
Yeah, so what happened was that then September is when I went to 162, but I was a drummer. because I played drums since I was 5 years old, and I played piano. So I already knew how to play instruments. So I went to 162, and that's where everybody knew me as Ralph the drummer, but they knew me as dancing. But I was DJing because in 1973, also Bob, Big Bob, who played at the Empire Skating Ring, his cousin was cooking.
Big Bob Furniture?
No.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
You never know. Who's up in the world?
But his cousin Cookie was part of the Crown Heights affair, and then we had the guy who played drums and
I
bass.
remember that Crown Heights
affair. BT Express. They lived on my block. So as a young kid, I'm playing drums and piano with these guys because, like I said, my father was in more the Latin world. You know, people would see Ray Barrett, all these people coming to my house, like, and people like, you know that? I'm like, I really didn't care because, like I said, I wasn't. My cousins were Jibaros. They loved that Latin thing. I didn't like it. My father used to make me play it. I couldn't stand it. But when it came to playing like jazz or something, I could read music and everything. I could transpose at a young age because I love music. But my mother was a great salsa dancer, and she showed me how to shake my shoulders. She showed me how to, she showed me about Fred Astaire, Jim Kelly, all these famous dancers. She told me, when you dance, you gotta dance like this. You gotta dance with feeling, because we dance mambo, we dance this, we dance it this way. So I got to take some of that and create my own style, because I used to watch people and I could pick them up easy. I could watch you, and like a week later, I'll dance just like you.
So let me throw something at you real quick. Since you were in that Latin culture, by blood, right?
Yes.
When did you hear Boogaloo?
I heard Latin Boogaloo. I never heard.
You heard of Latin Boogaloo,
Latin
or did you hear of Boogaloo?
No, Latin Boogaloo.
Because when I talked to my father, and my father was one of the first Latin DJs in New York City, he calls it Boogaloo. He never said Latin Boogaloo.
Well, that's how they call it, Latin Boogaloo.
Okay.
Maybe some people just say Boogaloo, but in New York, they call it. That's
when I speak to my aunts and I speak to my father, they never put the Latin in it. It was just Boogaloo. In their generation, and my father's in his 80s now.
Yeah.
But you're right, we didn't call it Latin Boogaloo, it was Boogaloo because we were Latinos.
Right.
Yeah, but,
so
in the records, you'll see Latin Boogaloo.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
say that? Okay.
yeah.
But we personally never said that. We called it Boogaloo.
Boogaloo, yeah.
Because we were Latinos.
I'm not trying to change
or
the
the mambo
subject.
too.
It's just that I got a little, thing that Boogaloo really is a Latin Afro thing.
Yes, it's a Latin funk.
Yeah, and has nothing to do with the Boogaloos
from the West Coast.
That calls it Boogaloo
for dancing.
And they use a totally different type of music and a totally different type of dance, when Boogaloo itself has its own culture. So I kind of like defend that culture of my ancestors, my parents, because that was something that went.
I guess if you're in the Spanish neighborhood, people just call it Boogaloo. But when you hanging around with the Morenos, the Black brothers, they call it Latin. They knew what Latin Boogaloo. They call that Latin Boogaloo. So it's kind of like DJing. Because Big Bob was black. So we had DJ Amp. He was one of the biggest. He had the biggest sound system in Bushwick, and I remember learning how to mix and blend, because back then there was no faders. All these people talking about I scratch and this. I'm like, there's no way you can scratch with a 3890 GLI and its big knobs. There was no scratching. The mixer. Listen, I'm gonna say something, because this is what makes it better. A lot of time I've been on a DJ panel with certain DJs, where they want to call themselves the godfather of DJ or of hip hop or whatever. The first thing I ask is, what DJ equipment were you using? Because I asked them first, what school you went to, what did you do, what you do. They remember everything. When I say, what's the first turntable you had? Now they tell me a turntable. I said, that turntable wasn't out yet. That turntable wasn't out. You can Google it. You can find out. Certain techniques wasn't out yet.
Oh, they're trying to say that.
Now before the technique, does anybody knows what's the turntable everybody was using?
Well, for me, the first turntable I remember was a 65, and you can convert it to a 45, and it was wood, and it was my mother's, and that.
Dude, all I remember was the one that came in that big buto.
So then you're talking about that one, yeah. But I'm saying the first, like a DJ, when DJs play in the radio station, all that.
The techniques they had, I remember seeing them, but I didn't know the name of them. But they were not like Technique. They were not even metal. They were either in a wooden or
They were in the wood box.
Well,
wood box.
You know what I found
That I
amazing
remember.
when we interviewed Tony, and he talked about Dave Mancuso, how he played one record. He had awesome equipment. He did not mix, and I found that very interesting because I come from the world where DJs were mixing. This guy
He played
did not
one
mix,
song
played
from
one
beginning to
You know who
end.
does
What
that?
turntables did he use? Because
Oh, he had a top of the line turntable, but he didn't care about mixing.
He was DJing.
He was a musical technician.
Right, he was
bro.
playing music from the late 60s, because to my understanding, the law started in the late 60s into the early 70s, right?
70s, started in 70s.
Yeah, 69, 70, I heard.
70.
I'm not,
But the turntable,
I'm not a historian.
see, but what happens is a lot of people don't, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't know it. But that turntable you're talking about, that big wooden heavy one, is called the Gerard.
Okay.
That's the name of it. Now, the first mixer that came out with a fader was called the DAC, D-A-C, Digital Audio Component. And that's how they first started designing the mixer to have a fader, which came out 74, late 74, 75. So for DJs to say in 72 they were scratching, it's impossible. It's impossible because with the 3890 or the Uri, you couldn't do it. Which I have some of these turntables. I have the 1700. I got the 1500s. I have the original 1200. I have the original 1800s. 1200s came out later, but the 18, the 17, the 1500s, the 1100s, those techniques. The first technique came out was the 210.
You have
the
Bruce Lee stickers on
I had
it?
the 1200.
You have Bruce Lee stickers on it?
No, they don't get none of that. I got the B1s, I got the B101s, I got my D2s, I got my D3s, I got the original ones, the belt and the Rex. I remember going to Crazy Eddie, buying my turntable for $69. And then when people started buying it, they boosted up to $180, whatever. But back in Bushwick, when I started
Did you pay for it when you went to Crazy Eddie's?
Huh?
Did you pay for it?
Oh, yeah, I paid for
Because when
it.
I went there, I didn't pay for shit.
No, I pay for my stuff. You know, and my father and my brother they collected so many records. So records I always had. People used to tell me, where you get these records from? Oh, my dad. I borrowed from my dad. But my dad and my older brother never knew that I used to use their records. I still have their records.
But
you know,
listen, we're getting off the subject.
Yeah, I know. I kind of threw you
So
over.
this is going to be another 2 hours. So let's go back.
Let's go back to you,
Let's
man.
go back to you and your dancing.
Yeah.
Because that's what I said. Every subject that we speak about, bro, there's going to be a fucking 2-hour thing. So let's go back to where
And
now
I throw the
you
monkey
were in
wrenches in there all the time.
74, you were dancing. So when was, for example, when did you start going, you know what, I'm ready to start going to neighborhoods, different neighborhoods? Do you remember your first neighborhoods that you battled, or how you got into your first crew, things like that?
well, Carlos.
Because it was through Uprock, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't any other dance.
No.
It was through
I was strictly Uprock.
All right.
And I tried to do a little hustle, but I wasn't really good at it. But Carlos from
I wasn't
Dynasty,
good at it.
Carlos from Dynasty wanted to bring out, you know, it was like, oh, we're gonna bring out. We went to a movie theater. We saw a Chinese karate movie. It said Dynasty, and he said he wanted to call it. He said, I like that name, Dynasty. So he wanted to make Dynasty Rockers. But he at the time.
Is that how you got the name?
Yeah. So he didn't want to use the name. He didn't want to, because back then we couldn't just fly shirts because of the Outlaws.
Right.
You know. So I was like, yo, I'm down with the Rebels. You know, Baby Rebels. I know Patch. You know these guys. I'll talk to them. He's no. So Frankie D was another big DJ in Bushwick. So we came out as Sounds of Dynasty. So now Carlos is now trying to learn how to DJ, so he can still come out, even though you know how to Uprock, but come out as a DJ. So Frankie D was the first guy to bring out Sounds of Dynasty, and that's how we were able to wear the colors, but we still dance. There's MTC also, Music to Communicate. I have flyers there, and they did all the jams with Crazy Rob in the 69, 70, early 70s. You know, the Showboat that's not too far from here.
Yeah, I
you know?
want to see something.
I was a young guy, but I was out in the streets. I was able to go out. My older brother would
So
take me out.
you were a títere.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was.
A
You know,
títere, known as a young thug.
Another one. But
So-
what was like your first battle though?
my first battle was in 162. I battled some guys from.
162 is a high school.
It's a junior high school.
Yeah.
I was 7th grade there. So I did a variety show there. We had a show at night. So I was playing the drums, and then they had us, me and Manny from Dynasty. We did like a little showcase. And then after that, my first battle I would say would be against one-on-one rockers from 111 junior high school.
So, at the high school.
No, at the park. We battled them.
Oh, you went to the park and
They had a block. They had block parties. I would go and battle. Boom, 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 boom. And then one time, Dynasty battle one-on-one for shirts. We used to battle for shirts. So if you lost, you got to take your shirt off. So we beat one-on-one. Then we started beating other crews and taking their shirts away. And that's how we.
That's how you guys were doing it.
Yeah. So then what happened was,
I remember people
Touch of
just
Rock,
taking them.
Touch of Rock, and Dynasty. Touch of Rock thought they were number one. Dynasty thought we were number
so
one.
losing, huh?
And we had to set up a battle, which I got the flyer.
I lost the battle, but I got the shirt.
And we battled to see what crew was number one, and Dynasty won. That's why you see Dynasty won Rockers, because if we lost, we have to take the one out.
I'm from the Bronx, right?
So
what was the first Bronx crew you came across?
Bronx never came to us or nothing. We never.
Yeah, dude, it was
You
separate.
never came
It was
across.
separate.
You never came across. You didn't go like to Manhattan and came across.
Well, we
No,
went
but
from
Manhattan was after.
as we got
It was
older.
later. That was later.
Later on, we went to the Starship
yeah,
and stuff
that was
like
in
that.
the 80s already.
But even when I went to the Bronx, because I have family in the Bronx. You know, like I said, I moved to Brooklyn, but still, my cousin's name is Dak. He writes Dak, D-A-K. He's an old graffiti writer and from the Bronx, from the Moorehouses,
Yeah,
you know,
that time.
and he's an old school DJ. Well, I remember I would go out there and dance, and people would say, "What's that Brooklyn thing?" Because they never seen rock
What
away.
I told
He
that to
always says
store.
that. He always
Said
says that.
when I saw the Brooklyn, the
Yeah.
Uprock, I always called it Brooklyn rock.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at it and I said, huh. And moved on, you know, because it
Yeah.
wasn't, to me, I was coming from, you know, more of the Zulu nations and the hip hop and culture. And so what we saw Uprock, but we broke it down to the ground. We went Uprock, top rock, and then backspins and everything else.
So is it fair for you to say, or where do you think uprocking started? Was it Brooklyn or was it the Bronx?
To what I see the different styles in Manhattan and Queens, I don't see nobody can top Brooklyn. And the way to do it is bring your Brooklyn best, and we'll bring our Brooklyn best, and we
got the best. They had the best.
Yeah. We bring the best there, and we see who battles. That's the way it has to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's like martial arts. You have your style, have this style, have this style. Let's see what you got.
But what I'm saying is that the Bronx claims everything. Do you think they can claim?
No, they can't. Listen, okay, let's. I know I'm a little off the subject, but I'm gonna tell you right now. What's the first rap record you know that came out?
I remember King Tim
first
the
rap?
Third. King Tim the
First
Third.
rap record.
No, I heard rap before it was on the record.
Right. What's the first rap record that came out on record?
On record?
Yeah, on
What
record.
I said, the one I
think-
just said, King Tim. What was it? King Tim
No,
the Third.
no.
King something the Third. It was King. It wasn't. It
What
was
song
before
was that?
Spoonie G.
Well, no. Okay, wait a minute.
To
Wait a
me, it
minute.
was Spoonie G.
No,
Okay.
I think the Spoonie
Okay.
G
No,
was
it was
one of
King
the first.
Tim. King
Okay,
something, bro.
It's called Kim Tim
Kim
the Third
Tim. That I said
by the
it right.
Fatback Band.
I said King
All right?
Tim the Third, bro.
Now, no, wait.
How's it go? Maybe I heard it and I just don't
No,
know.
later on I'll play it for you. I have it on my phone.
Okay.
The second record that came out was Super Rhymes, Jimmy Spicer.
Yeah, Super Rhymes.
And
Yeah.
then it was
Okay.
Spoonie G.
And then after that,
Spoonie G.
Rappo Clappo.
I don't remember.
Then the fourth record came out was Blondie, Rapture.
Yes.
The fifth record came out was Sugar Hill Gang,
Right.
Rapper's Delight.
But I think the Sugar
then
Hill label
Oh, man.
was
Wait,
the
wait,
national
again.
label.
Yeah,
national-
national. Okay,
So-
Spoonie G was before that song.
All those other,
no.
all those
Look
other
at-
rappers, Spoonie G and all
Yeah.
those guys right there, Super Rhymes, they were more local labels. That those labels were not going to Florida, they're not going to Texas, they wasn't going to Chicago.
All right, but
Blondie
They-
was. Blondie
Blondie,
was.
Yeah, but
Blondie
not-
was a rock
Right.
yeah, but
band.
not Super Rhyme either.
That's what I'm saying.
But-
the Sugar Hill Gang
Yeah.
was the first one that went national, and then they went international.
Okay, now, to tell you the truth, anybody could be the best, right? You want to say the Bronx is the best? You want to say Williamsburg? I say Bushwick is the best. Only one of us.
wait.
Only one of us.
Bushwick is Brooklyn. Isn't it?
Yeah, but doesn't matter. I'm just saying borough-wise.
Neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods.
Neighbor, okay.
Knickerbocker, Bushwick, Williamsburg.
So what I'm trying to say is, all of us, we could say we're the best.
Yeah.
But really, only one of us can be the first. The first rap record that he's saying, Kim Tim the Third, the Fatback Band, they're from Brooklyn. Right?
I don't know where they were from.
Super
And I don't
Rhyme.
remember-
Now,
I
Jimmy
don't remember
Spice is
the
my
song.
boy. Jimmy Spice is my boy. Super
passed
Rhyme.
away, right?
Yeah, he passed away. He's from Brooklyn. Now everybody keeps saying, "Oh, but it's not." Now DJ Flowers in 1969.
Queens, right?
No, Brooklyn.
Oh no, Rockaway.
He's from the from what do you call that? Downtown Brooklyn. It's a project offhand.
But wasn't he? He used to DJ at Rockaway.
He played everywhere.
Yeah.
He played in Far Rockaway, Palm Beach, everywhere.
He's the one that do the first jams.
Yeah. Now this guy,
DJ
in 1969, opened up for James Brown in Yankee Stadium. Where was all these rest of the DJs that claimed they started hip hop?
No,
No. That's what I'm just want to know what's that. That's
okay,
right there. Like I said, he's the first.
What I'm saying is, and I always said everybody was doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I never disclaimed. Mm-hmm. Everybody was doing their own thing. To me, Brooklyn was like another country. Like I didn't.
A lot of people say that.
I didn't know Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I didn't know Brooklyn. I didn't get to know Brooklyn till I met Storr. Besides that, there was no reason for me to go to Brooklyn unless I'm going to the beach.
No reason for us to go to the
Island.
Bronx unless we have family.
Yeah.
Right? To go to Coney Island. I would go to the beach in Coney Island. That was the only thing.
But my point is that you got Maboya, Plummer, right? These guys were DJing in the 69, 70, whatever.
That.
No, I'm not saying you disclaim.
No, he's not saying that. But
I'm just saying
listen to the timeline to how we started.
I'm just saying is like all these DJs were DJing, and especially a lot of these clubs. Now Flowers DJ a lot of clubs in the Bronx and Queens, right? What happened to the Disco Twins? In 1971, 72, they were the first one, twin brothers scratching, doing all the acrobatic type of thing.
I don't know if they were the first ones. I won't say
listen.
Yeah, but in 71, nobody was scratching.
No, but they were scratching like hold it and chick, and you could let it go. But not this new transforming style. That didn't happen till later.
But what I'm saying is that from what I recall, it was happening, but it wasn't being really recorded unless you recorded it.
It's recorded
on a tape.
No, but it's recorded
on a tape.
Yeah, but it's recorded. If you look at the founding fathers of hip hop, they have footage of it.
But I get that. I get they got some footage. I get it. But again, what I'm trying to say is that it was happening. It really wasn't being recorded because nobody was recording. For you to have a recorder, you had to have some money.
Well, it depends because the guy who promoted, he used to bring like a lot of like say Aretha Franklin, all these people. He would have these guys DJ New Sounds from Queens, Fantasia.
I think that's a different level.
He was there, but he was a promoter who had all this footage. So he brought it out to show. Wait a minute.
But
these guys did their thing, but these guys were before that.
Let's go back because here we steer off again.
Right.
So again, my question was. So who do you think claims rock? Is it Brooklyn or is it the Bronx?
We claim rock all the time, man. I mean, show and prove. That's how you look at it. Show and prove, man.
And I don't doubt it because again, like I said, when I saw Uprock, first of all, I didn't call it Uprock. I didn't know what it was, and then I knew it as Brooklyn rock at best.
So when was your first experience with guys from either Manhattan or the Bronx with Uprock? Was it in Manhattan at the Roxy when it started?
It was more in the 80s. I would go to, like, say, Roxy's or something. I would dance, and people would see me, and then, like, oh, where you from? I'm from Brooklyn, whatever. But they didn't want them not even compete with me or nothing. Nobody dared jump.
They didn't jump in the circle because everybody was backspinning on the other side.
See, but what I keep saying is this, like I always say to people, right? I always remember, right? I always say, listen, every neighborhood had its thing.
Yeah.
Every neighborhood had its hero. Every neighborhood had its crew. That, you can go to any neighborhood in any borough and you go, hey, yo, remember in the 80s when the Boogie or the bands and they'll go, oh yeah, fucking Ralph, oh yeah, Kid T, oh yeah, Storr, oh yeah. So every neighborhood had its hero, right? So this is why I always continue to say that we bring up these issues not because we're going to get to the bottom of it, because it's difficult, right? It's really difficult. However, I always feel, because I'm from Brooklyn, I rep Brooklyn, but I'm not an extremist when it comes to repping it, because it's only fair for me to say that I became a better dancer being in Manhattan. So when I say Manhattan, not in a particular place, but going to places like the Loft, like Bonds, like Gotham's West, Central Park, Washington Square Park. This is how I improved because I was able to see all the different things that were coming out.
Well, Manhattan was always been.
It was the melting pot.
It was the melting pot where everybody would go because people were scared to go to the Bronx. Not scared, but they knew that they go to the Bronx. They're gonna be a lot of outlaws. We might get killed. People from the Bronx, I tell people, oh, you gotta come to Brooklyn.
They never want
They're
to
like,
come.
well, I ain't going down that Brooklyn.
Manhattan either.
Forget about it. But Queens was scared to go to either one.
Yep.
But
Staten Island
but a lot
never
of
did
places,
anything.
but a lot of what everybody used to meet at was more Manhattan. I think Manhattan had clubs and stuff like that where people
Well,
got
it allowed us to become together.
Yeah, it's like
but
to me.
before that, it was what you said and what you said. The Bronx was the Bronx, Brooklyn was the Brooklyn. And like I was speaking to Willie, right? I said to Willie, how is it that the Bronx and Brooklyn was so similar, right? And this is before social media. This is before anything. And you know how? Like you said, guys like you danced in Brooklyn. You visited your fucking cousin in the Bronx in the summer. You went to a block party. They saw you dancing. They picked it up, you know, or you started meeting people like him and I brought him to Brooklyn. When I brought him to Brooklyn, believe it or not, there was no such thing as Electric Boogie in Brooklyn, brother. It was we were all just dancing. Uprock, and there was a loft or freestyling, and that was.
But
it.
we had some poppers from Brooklyn because we had a guy,
Yeah,
these
but
two brothers.
But not
like,
not before 80, bro.
Huh?
Not before 1980, bro.
No, like I'm saying like 79, 80. Yeah, because the two brothers had a cousin from the West Coast and they called it strutting. And I knew how to do the robot because I went to see the Jackson 5, which I have the picture
we all
of.
The robot goes all the way
Yeah,
back.
that goes back to
So
that
what
goes back early.
I'm saying is as years go by, you start seeing people. And when I went into the Bronx, I've met like Shake. I seen him. He was a locker. Now the locker, Shakalak, was locking since early 70s.
I wasn't a locker, but
Yeah, but he went to that art and design, whatever that school.
Design.
He went there, and he's original locker. He knew the lockers. So he's got his own story. He has to tell you.
Right.
But he has footage, newspaper articles where he did a lot of locking. So a lot of these guys, Brooklyn some guys knew how to do, but they didn't call it Electric Boogie. They call it boogalooing, or they call it strutting, or whatever. Because that's how we learned it from the West Coast.
I've never heard of strutting.
No?
I've never heard of boogaloo up to recent years. And I started in 78, and the way I started was the roller skating and the robot, right? So roller skating, because I was a kid. I wasn't going to no nightclubs, but I was able to go roller skate. I had a crew called Hell on Wheels. I went in there, and skaters would do the robot on skates.
So you never heard of Loose Bruce?
Later.
White boy Loose Bruce?
There's two of them.
Yeah,
There's white one. There's white one and the black one.
Loose
Yeah.
Bruce, the one that used to dance
But that
with
wasn't
Peach?
until the 80s.
No, the black guy.
I didn't meet them till the
Because
80s.
Loose Bruce used to be
Yeah.
Peach's partner.
So
I remember them.
Yeah.
what we did was we did the robot, and we imitated roller skating without the skates at the jams.
Because it was
What
easy
we
with the
did.
skates.
Yeah.
To float.
Yeah.
And all that, as you with the skates,
Right.
it's easy.
So when we did it in the Bronx at the jam, we would glide, and that's pretty much all we did. Was we were doing just glides and some robot, and that was it. That was the first steps to what I remember. And then,
And you're saying what year is this?
back in 78, 79.
But then you got guys like Mr. Wiggles, the only guy saying they were popping 76, 77.
No, that's not
Absolutely
true.
not.
That's not true.
I didn't even heard of Wiggles till the 80s.
No, but he was.
I'm not saying that he wasn't known. I didn't know him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but I'm saying-
honestly, to this day, I still don't know the guy.
I don't know.
I came across in my lifetime.
personally-
I'm 54
I
years
can't
old.
speak for him.
Yeah.
I'm 54 years old. I came across Wiggles maybe 3 times in my whole lifetime. That's it.
Because I'll tell you this much,
I mean-
I never saw Electric Boogie until I saw him, Clown, all these kids
Now, Clown,
in Central Park.
Yeah, but now
and this
Clown-
was 80.
Like 1980, yeah, 81.
The rebirth of the
but
Uprock,
like I said,
and we're going to try to keep it to just the Uprock. If not,
We'll try.
we need 3 hours with Ralphie. So Ralphie, if you notice, he took out only 45,000 pictures out of his 98,000 pictures. So speak to us about the rebirth of rock coming from your perspective, my brother.
So what happened was, as in the 80s, when breaking was dying out, late 80s and 90s, there wasn't too many events no more after the 90s. The only thing that was happening was Zulu Nation was still continuing doing their events. But it wasn't like it was for for dance. It was more for rappers, you know, and DJs. And I kind of like was like, man, you know, I went to one of them and I was like, man, there's no dancers here, no breakers, no poppers, no rockers.
What year was this?
I went 92. I went to one.
Oh, this is way after.
92 where?
In I think it was in the Bronx.
In the Bronx?
Yeah, in the Bronx.
Okay.
So I saw the fly, went to it. I didn't like it. I was like, oh, a lot of rappers. You know, it didn't, you know, inspire me to do anything. So there was a block party. My son at the time, he had his little friends, and I was DJing in the block party. Matter of fact, I even helped Eagle D from Black Moon. I taught those guys, and Tony Touch. They used to watch me DJ when they were young. So I was DJing the park, and you know, some of the guys like, yo, play some rock. So I started playing rock. I got on the floor, then I started breaking, and they was like, yo, you still could break good. And I was like, yeah, I still got it. You know, I was doing windmills to head tracks and stuff like that.
You did windmills?
Yeah, windmills, tracks, everything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were strictly uprock.
No. I got into breaking in '79 by Dynamic, and then I became the leader in 1981. I became the leader of Mastermind Rockers in Cooper Park. I took over the crew. I became the leader. Viejo made me the founder because original man who was running the crew, he was a 5%er. He left. So they didn't have no leader. I went to one of the rock steadies. I think Crazy Lake was trying to throw a jam with Zulu Nation. I saw some of those guys at the next Zulu jam. But it was, like I said, it wasn't strictly for dance. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start doing dollar jams. And then here we go. The fly is right here, dollar jams. I didn't pay for you only pay $1 to come in. So my
Is that your first flyer?
one of the dollar jams. I don't know which one is that
Awesome,
one.
man.
No, but we'll take a picture.
Yeah, we'll take a picture. Well, wait, who did this? This is
My
good
boy,
artwork.
my boy Dan Deuce from London.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I started making Uprock mixtapes.
Anybody knows what that is now?
So it's like all the original Uprock music.
Yeah.
You know, all the original Uprock music. I got volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. Then, as you know, time is going, Breaks Crew's out, you got Supreme Beings from Queens. I started working with those kids. I started teaching for free. They asked everybody, all the kids asked me, how much you charge? I said, nah, my program is free. I'm here for the youth. And then in 95, Crazy Legs did something in the west side, at Rocksteady Park. I went over there, I brought Kid Freeze, Fast Break, I brought all these guys. I invited Chino O'Brien, all the heavy hitters, because I knew that all these young kids didn't know who these guys was. Like, we were like lords, you know, we were dead or something. So I went there to Rocksteady Park. I called everybody out. I don't care who, Rocksteady, whatever. I started up-rocking. Nobody wanted to battle me. Then everybody's like, oh, where you from? I'm from Bushwick. I'm from Dynasty, you know, original Dynasty. And they was like, oh yeah. Then after that, Legs came to one of my loft parties that I had. My friend had a loft, and we did a party. He came, and he's like, yo, Breaking is back. I'm like, yeah, Breaking is back. And then as I had dollar jams, I would, if you told me you were coming to my dollar jam, I knew you was an old school guy, I would give you a plaque. I still got Crazy Legs plaque. He never picked it up. I got Ken Swift's plaque. Never picked it up. I asked Ken Swift, yo, I got some kids I'm teaching. Won't you come down? I want to introduce them to you, you know, and, you know, he wanted me to pay him $500. I said, you could stay home. All right? Because they're not paying me. How can I pay you?
What year was that?
97, 98.
See, because it's funny, we spoke about earlier, great flyer, it says May 1st, with no year. We didn't either put a fucking date or we put no year on the flyer.
Yeah, a lot of times we don't think.
Yeah.
We didn't think about.
We didn't think that,
Yeah.
you know, 30 years later we'd be talking about this.
You know, so I did all the DJ gigs, but everybody was coming to the dollar jams. Everybody was coming to my dollar jam.
And you were DJ.
Dollar
I was
jam,
DJ, you know,
dollar bill.
I had African Bambaataa DJ for me, come, you know,
Yeah?
open. Yeah, he
Ooh.
came and supported. Fable would come. I would give Fable an award. I gave Chrissy award. I gave like Fast Break award. I gave London award. I didn't care what crew you came from. I was trying to bring unity together. We're grown men. We wasn't kids.
Right.
Forget the dynamic, rocksteady, New York City brick. I didn't believe in that. I believe that if you was from back in the days, I wanted to show you some love. And a lot of guys
So
pick up their plaques.
why did it go
And it
wrong?
should be
Where
that
did it go
way.
wrong?
It should be that way.
You know,
Egos?
I'll tell you what went wrong. When the money started, a lot of these guys were charging. I didn't charge, like I said, $1. And I'm going to explain to you why the dollar. Because let's say you ran the GED program for adults and we didn't get funding. So let's say this month I did an event and I got 300 people, $300. I say, hey, listen, take this money and buy the books you need for your class. He has the basketball class. I buy uniform for the kids so they can have, they play basketball tournaments, they have uniform. I was trying
you were donating the money.
I was donating back into the community to help young kids get off the streets,
awesome, man.
to get off the drugs, get off the gangs. I lived that life, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want that for them. I had kids, you know, I was married, I had kids. I took time from my wife and my kids to help other kids because there was a lot of kids who didn't have two parents, who had a mother who was struggling or father was, you know, they didn't even know the father. So I was like the big brother. But out of all these years, I've done so much that everybody was now trying to charge, and Rocksteady came back and Legs did the Hunts Point and stuff like that. He was charging $10, and I'm like, yo, a lot of these kids can't pay $10, you know? But he saw money into it. That's what he wanted to do. I respect that, but I never did that.
But they were
so in the kids in New York. What happened was I didn't even charge no more. You get free food. My wife was cooking like rice and beans, benit. We would cook lasagna. We get hot dogs. We get hamburger. All the soda you want, all the water, you know, you wanted to drink. And the kids. And there was a guy named Frankie Quinones. He has his own construction company in New Jersey. He will give like $3,000.
So he sponsored it.
Yeah, to give out money. He helped out. He said, yo, why are you doing this all by yourself?
Yeah, I met Frank. He's cool people.
He said, you pay all this money for yourself out of your own pocket? I said, yeah, I don't got no sponsors. I mean, I got like the chips company that would give me chips or the icy, you know, the little things, the ices, you know, they would give me like 20 boxes and I would give out the ices, but money-wise, it was coming out of my pocket in the beginning. Then after a while, I couldn't do the money, so I would buy trophies. Plus, I was making my own plaques, giving it out to special old school people that came to support and give them say thank you, you know. And I showed the kids of that era to say, listen, this is old school guys here. You need to respect them because they're the one who opened the doors for all you guys, young guys, you know, the youth. So
where did you take it? And where is it now?
Well, I kept taking it to different levels because then after that, from when people stopped doing cassettes, I had to go buy a CD machine, and I started putting all the Uprock, which I had. Oh, it has the
music.
Music, all music. So
look how he has it labeled.
No,
we got to show this. He wrote it down by hand, dude. Back in the day, there was no printer, bro. He wrote it by hand, each song by hand.
So then what happened was, I said, I got to make this breaking event bigger. So what I did was,
melting pot.
I saw a boxing show with Sugar Ray Leonard called The Contender. And I said, wow, I like that.
I saw that show.
Yeah. So then I called mine B-Boy Contender.
That was on regular TV.
And what I did was, I had a friend of mine who did go. He was he did like gold chains. He had his own jewelry place in his house. So I gave him like a picture of a B-boy and a popper, and I said, listen, can you make this out of gold, like like a little man? He said, yeah, I'll make it. He sponsored me 5 of them. And then I made a belt. I was the first one to come out with a belt. I took one of those weightlifting belts. My son, I told him, this is what I want. I drew the picture here. He made the belt. That's why the belt is on there. You see that belt? It's on there. Yeah, I can show you like that. That belt. So my son made the belt, and my boy PJ, at the time, he kind of like, I told him what I wanted. He drew it out. So I had this new thing now, B-Boy Contenders, where you see a one-on-one B-Boy competition. That was the undercard. Like you go to boxing, you always see an undercard. And then you have the main event. The 2 crews, they battle. Then next month, I have a different crew. I will have a Bonnie and Clyde. I started the Bonnie and Clyde. 1 girl, 1 guy, 1 girl, 1 guy. Then I had the main event, Dynamic Rockers versus Breaking in Style. Then as that keep going, I had like either a house competition or I had like a popping competition. There was an undercards, but the main event was always the crews that battle for this competition.
Where was it? Always at the Beacon? Huh? This was in Philly?
No. This is in Queens.
What's Philly, PA here?
No, that was that's where they're from.
Oh,
they're from Philly. So I had people from different states come and supported what I was doing. So then, as years go by, I decided I'm going to make an Uprock DVD, Uprock is Revenge, and I put this DVD out. you know. And
What's
then,
in here? Teachings of...
No, it's about
pretty
all
cool.
Uprock footage that I've been taking through the years, so that now I put it together.
You give us a clip to put it up?
Yeah. And then I was hired to do this breakdancing video, which I did the music soundtrack for these people from...
This is still not
Cool
open.
stuff,
Yeah,
man. Really cool
I have.
stuff.
You can open it. Doesn't matter.
No. Don't.
Yeah. So, you know, if it wasn't, you know, why I looked at it, and I'll tell you this, so as a promoter, and I learned this from being promoter with Eddie Rivera and the RPBC, because Crazy Legs, because he did Hunts Point or whatever, he didn't teach all these kids. I taught all these kids. I'm the first one to do the event. So they fed off of it with money. They were flying everywhere because of their name, but they didn't do the work. It's the same way with the Olympics. The people contact me in the beginning for this Olympics, this new Olympics with the kids, and they say, "Yo, we see that you're doing this thing with kids." And I say, "Yeah, that's me. I do this," and I showed them everything. Next minute, I try to get back to them. They didn't want to use me no more because now they're using Cross One, Crazy Legs, and all these guys. I'm like, wait a minute. These guys never cater to the kids. They cater to the bigger, older guys. You know what I'm saying? So why are you knocking me out? They never did a kids event. They can never show you.
So let me ask you real quick. Right now, it's in Russia. Is that you too?
That's me. Russia, China, France,
Because I
Switzerland.
know, because also, I know Mastermind goes out there, right?
No,
These
but they
guys
went
go out
after
there.
me. I was there before those
So
guys.
that big event that's in Russia, it was started because of you?
Yeah, because my crew is I have a crew, Dynasty members out there, The Rock.
So
those are my students.
they were there before MMR and all that?
Yeah, before MMR, yeah. So those guys all over in these countries.
I seen that. It looks pretty good. I saw it on
You
YouTube.
know, they
For the Rock.
those guys are my crew. I have Dynasty in different countries now, in Korea, China, France. You know.
So you're the godfather of Dynasty?
Yes, I'm the new. I'm not the original founder, but I'm the new founder from the '90s. I took over Dynasty.
So in other words, not the founder, you're the prez.
So where are you at now?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah. Where are you at
Well,
now?
tell us what's happening
What's going
today,
on?
and we got about another 3 minutes.
What are you doing now? As far as you, or you're just laying back?
I'm
at
still
this point?
DJing a lot of places, you know, and
Nothing with Uprock?
I still do the Uprock a little bit, but right now with this COVID thing, there's no way to do anything. You can't travel nowhere.
Right.
But my guys are, I think I trust them like they're my new black belts. They can handle what's going on. I don't need to be there. You know, I think I have other goals. You know, I've been going to church and I'm trying to focus on more ministry stuff like that. So I leave it to them. You know, they're younger. I'm 57. I'm big 58, and I'm just happy and blessed to be alive. I got my got grandkids. I got to worry about. You know, I got my wife. You know, so she.
So then you're not going to
So I'm
take
just
that
trying to.
beef.
Huh?
You're not going to take that beef with a guy called Tiny Love that said he can take you?
Oh, he can have it. It's okay. It's all love.
He's always bragging that
You
he
know,
can take you.
listen, real champions.
I know he does that liquid shit, but he's always like, yo, I can take that guy clean up right.
You know, real champions know
That
where
nigga
they're
be
at.
talking shit.
Now, for him to beat me, he's got to be in the game. He's got to be in the game for 47 years, and then he beat me.
But anyway, yo, King, seriously, bro, thank you for coming on board, bro. Gracias.
Yeah.
Stay Puerto Rican, you know, and listen, hopefully we'll get you on again, bro.
All right, man.
And you're gonna allow us to, you can give us some stuff to
Nah, I'll
focus
give you some stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we put it all in the thing.
Once
Style
again,
Boogie!
Style Boogie, where the real stories will be told, brother. Thank you.